Today we're going to be talking about the risk that brand managers take, the risk you put your company at if you file baseless intellectual property right complaints or false counterfeit complaints.
That's absolutely right. A lot of brands sometimes take brand enforcement or brand protection into their own hands and make mistakes that we definitely want to see them avoid. One of those mistakes is filing baseless counterfeit complaints. And when it comes to baseless complaints, that's actually how this firm got started, right?
The firm got started defending sellers who were falsely accused of counterfeit complaints, falsely accused of trademark and copyright issues, and defending those sellers. And Amazon has matured over the past decade or so, where now when a brand or a brand manager makes too many false complaints, your complaints are given less weight and your lack of control increases dramatically.
Yep, we've even seen brands lose their ability to use the brand registry program just because they filed so many baseless complaints.
So if you're handling this in-house, it's really important to have the right information and to make sure that even though Amazon makes it easy to file false complaints, you want to make sure that you actively are preventing yourself from doing that. Now, the next type of problem that brands create for themselves are filing false counterfeit complaints, and these have a ton of legal significance and risk.
When we do brand protection, we've learned a lot of what we've learned from brands who do it the wrong way. So by seeing a brand make a baseless counterfeit complaint and knowing the effect that can have on a seller, we do the exact opposite. We don't start with complaints, we start with cease and desist letters. When cease and desist letters don't work, we do an investigation, find out who the seller really is, and do whatever we can to make meaningful contact with the seller.
And the system works because, one, identifying the seller and then sending the cease and desist communications will generally get rid of anywhere from 60 to 80% or more of the unauthorized sellers. When you make the counterfeit complaints, when it's false, when the sellers have just obtained genuine products but they're outside your intended distribution chain, and you make that complaint, you're actually opening up the brand to significant legal claims, including defamation and your interference with the seller's contract with Amazon.
Absolutely. The most important thing to do if you have an unauthorized seller problem or issues on Amazon is to make sure you're implementing material differences to separate your products from the first sale doctrine. We'll drop some links in the description about all the different ways you can do that for your brand. But if you don't engage in the legal legwork necessary to establish a basis for the complaints you're making, you're potentially exposing your brand to huge amounts of liability for the sellers that you could be harming by making those baseless complaints.
So here are the takeaways for brand managers. Number one, if you are unsure whether or not the trademark complaint, the copyright complaint is valid, contact us, because you need to know whether you are or are not making valid complaints, because baseless intellectual property right complaints can harm your ability to protect your brand in the future. And number two, never make a false counterfeit complaint, because that opens up the brand to actual litigation. So if you want to contact us to take a look at what you're already doing, or you want a consultation to see how we can better protect your brand from MAP price violators, from the denigration of your brand's perceived value, and the other losses that brands suffer, you can contact me and Rob at any one of these four ways, and we'll do an analysis and look at the ways that, one, we can take the sale of your product outside the first sale doctrine, and number two, have a real return on your investment in significant brand protection.
We're here to make sure you don't make the same mistakes we've seen.